Okay. So up on the board, we are going to do this warm-up problem. And then while you guys are working on that at home, I'm going to also talk about this week and what's happening leading up to our Thanksgiving holiday. So today we're going to do section 4.3, day 1, which is, okay, we've been adding, subtracting, and we just spent a couple days multiplying. So what's today? Dividing. Okay, so we'll talk about dividing polynomials today. We're going to do something we're going to do long division today, which goes back to elementary school. Okay, so we're going to do long division today. We're going to do synthetic division tomorrow. We're going to go back and pick up some more factoring on Wednesday. Then I have a review. It's actually already posted on Thursday. So on Thursday, we'll go over our 4.4 homework, and then I have a review for you guys to do in class, and that's it. And then study for your test, which will be on Friday. So not test, but quiz. Quiz section 4.1 to 4.4 on Friday. And then the following week, we will do section 4.5 before break. So that's where we're headed this week before break. Questions? Okay, so I had Karina. So Karina says multiply using Pascal's triangle. So since it's raised to the 4th power, how many terms am I going to have? 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you need to go to the 4th row, keeping in mind that the first row is actually row 0. And then what goes next? And then 1. And then 1. And remember, you want to go to the row that has 4 in it. So now this would be 1.
4, 6, 4, 1.
Okay, and those are the coefficients. So we're going to come over here and put 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. One of the biggest mistakes is you guys will forget your coefficients. Don't forget your coefficients. Okay, now the next term you're going to take is 5y. And how many 5y's do you have here?
4.
4. How many 5y's do you have here?
3.
How many 5y's here?
2.
How many 5y's here?
1.
And then none. Now the second time you're taking what?
-2.
-2. How many -2's do you have here?
0.
How many here?
1.
How many here?
2.
How many here?
3.
And how many here?
4.
4. Is everybody good with how she set this problem up? Now, when you simplify it, so remember you're going to do 1 times, and this is 5 to the 4th, y to the 4th. So what's 1 times 5 to the 4th?
625 y to the 4th.
625 y to the 4th. Now here you're going to do 4 times 5 to the 3rd y to the 3rd times -2. So this is where you grab your calculator and you're going to do 4 times 5 to the 3rd, which is 125, times -2. And what did you get there?
-1000 y to the 3rd.
-1000 y to the 3rd. And then what'd you multiply here?
6, 5 squared, and then -2 squared.
And then -2 squared. So you did 6 times 25 times +4. And what did you get there?
600.
Positive 600 y squared. And then what did you multiply here?
4, 5, and then -2 cubed.
Okay, well, yeah, exactly like you see it. So on this one, 4 times 5 times -8. And what do you get?
-160.
-160 y. And then this is just 1 times -2. Exactly what you see. What do you get?
16.
Positive 16. Guys, this is a very good quiz-worthy problem on Pascal triangle for Friday. How'd you guys do?
Good.
Good? Okay, you guys handle this? I think this is way better than playing this out 4 times. But. All right, I came around. Any last-minute questions on the homework? Last-minute questions on the homework. Are we good? Okie dokie. Pass those papers in. Let's get busy.
Either one of them would have won the game. Yeah. I have Sammy Watkins jersey from like 2015. So. I got a bunch of LeSean McCoy cards. I got it.
All right.
What?
So, we are going to talk today about dividing polynomials. But before I give you dividing polynomials, which you can see are on the back of your guided notes, I figure it's important that we look at going back to elementary school and going with just dividing regular old numbers. Because you have to remember this process. And if you don't remember long division from 3rd or 4th grade, then we're going to be, oh, Mr. Lippy, he is not coming again during this. He came in when I taught this years ago, and he was like freaking out that I was teaching this lesson. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, they don't know how to do long division. And here he comes again. All right. So funny. I was actually going to say something to you. All right. How do you divide 3 into 435? You ask yourself. He seriously is coming in.
1 minute.
Yeah, I thought you were going to make fun of my lesson, Mr. Lippy.
I was really bad at math. Then you carry the 1 down, right?
How about you go into the
Why is it 2?
No, that's multiplication.
Let's think.
I don't know how to do this.
I got this.
I'm just gonna. I just.
Wait, that's so spicy.
Yeah. 4 wants to put the 1 up here.
Where's the
down?
I mean, I don't remember how to do this. Neither do I.
Inside joke.
I did it. 145. You're just making random choices.
No. There's meaning behind it. Especially if you like me. That's what
All I know is 3 goes into 4 once. Maybe. One. That's as far as I've gotten.
Dude, I'm not sure. I remember at elementary, I'd forget how to do everything every single year. And I had to do it.
Yeah, I just like.
What?
All right. Sorry. He needed me to take care of something for him. All right. Are you guys done? Are you erasing? All right. We ready? I apologize for you at home that are waiting for me to come back. All right. So when Mr. Lippy needs me, I go. All right. So how many times does 3 go into 4? Once. And now what math do we do?
4 minus 3.
Well, first you have to what? Multiply, right? 1 times 3 is.
3.
And then I heard Ty say we have to what?
Subtract.
We subtract. What's 4 minus 3? 1. Bring down the what? 3. You could bring the 3 and the 5 or just the 3. It doesn't matter. Okay? So I'll bring down just the 3 because I think that's easier. Now, how many times does 3 go into 13? 4. And now what math do I do here? Again, you do what? 4 times 3, which is?
12.
And now I subtract. And what's 13 minus 12? 1. Whoops, I don't want to use red. 1. Bring down the what? 5. How many times does 3 go into 15? 5. Multiply. 3 times 5, you get 15. Now what? Subtract, and your remainder is what? 0. So that means your answer is exactly what? 145. Okay, so that was lesson from 3rd grade. You guys remember 3rd grade a little bit? Okay, now let's go up to 4th grade. How many times does 12 go into 27? Twice. So you put it over here, and then you multiply 2 times 12. 24. And then what operation do I do? Subtract. What's 27 minus 24? 3. Bring down the 7. Okay. How many times does 12 go into 37? 3. What's 3 times 12? 36. Now what? Subtract, and what do you get?
1.
Okay. Do you want to sit out there, or do you want to go back to study hall? Okay, give me 1 second. I gotta write your pass. 1. Now, back when you guys were in elementary school, you had a choice. Let me write your pass, Riley. You guys had a choice. You could. I did not spell that right. Lynn. 2. Study hall. 12. 10. There you go. Thanks. Okay, you had a choice. Okay, when you were in first learning this, you put remainder 1. Then as you got older, you put a decimal point, you added some zeros, and you carried the zeros out. But you might remember at some point in time saying that this is 23, and then you put your remainder over your divisor. You said in 1/12. Do you remember doing that? Okay. So, but that's another, because it was and 1 divided by 12, right? Because you're still dividing 1 by 12. So it's 23 and 1/12. All right? Let's try another one. How many times does 4 go into 13? 3. What's 3 times 4? 12. What do you do now? Subtract. What's 13 minus 12? 1. Bring down the what? Okay, how many times does 4 go into 12? 3. Multiply. 3 times 4, you get 12. Subtract, you get what? 0. Bring down the 5. How many times does 4 go into 5? Once. What's 1 times 4? 4. Change your sign to subtract. And what is your remainder? 1. So your answer is what? 331 and 1/4. Okay. So, some of you are like, what does this have to do with higher level maths? We can divide polynomials, any polynomial of any degree, using long division. The process is exactly what you just did. So this is 2x squared plus 7x plus 7 divided by x plus 2. The process is the same. You guys asked yourself, what would I multiply 4 by? You kind of said in your head, how many times does 4 go into 13? Or what could I multiply 4 by to get as close to 13 as possible? And it was 3. So what could I multiply x by to get to 2x squared? 2x. Do you guys see how? What would I multiply x by to get to 2x squared? And somebody said 2 and x. So I'm going to put 2x up here. Now, once I did that over here, I said, how many times is 4 going to 13? You guys said 3. What operation did I do next? I did what? 3 times 4. So I'm going to do 2x times this whole quantity. So when you do 2x times x, what do you guys get? And when you do 2x times 2, what do you get? 4x. Okay. Is everybody good there? Now, after I did that over here, I did 3 times 4. I got 12. Then I did what? So I have to subtract. I got to subtract both of those. So what happens to 2x squared minus 2x squared? What's 7x minus 4x? Bring down the... Do it again. What would I multiply x by to get to 3x? Positive 3, so I'm going to put plus 3. And now what do you do with this 3? Multiply it. So what do you get? 3x plus 6. Now I do what? Subtract both of those. What happens to 3x minus 3x? They cancel. And what's 7 minus 6? Is everybody okay with math I've done thus far? Now we have to write the answer. Okay, what was the answer? 2x plus 3 plus what? 1 over x plus 2. And there is your long division. Kind of cool. Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's try another one. If you were to read this sentence, how would you read it? X squared plus 5x minus 28 divided by x minus 3. And the reason I say that is people are always confused as to which one goes inside. So this trinomial goes inside, and it's being divided by, so here's your divisor. All right. Calling different people. Ethan, what would I multiply x by to get to x squared?
2, so 2x.
Be careful. If I put 2, what's 2 times x?
2x, so it would be x squared, or just x.
There you go. He's changed his mind and said just x, right? And now you're going to multiply what's x times x.
X squared.
And then what's x times negative 3?
Negative 3x.
All right. And now what are you going to come in and do?
Subtract.
So this one comes subtract, but this one becomes what? Plus.
0, or wait, what?
Okay, this one was a subtraction.
Oh, but it becomes an add.
Becomes a noun. So what happens to the x squareds?
They eliminate each other.
And then what's 5x plus 3x?
8x.
Okay. Caleb, what are you going to multiply x by to get to 8x? Positive 8. Now, what do you do with the 8?
You distribute it.
And you get what?
Negative 8x minus 24.
And then you come in and you do what?
Subtract.
So this becomes negative, that becomes, and what do you have left here?
Negative 4.
Now, guys, you are done. You can't go any further when the degree of what's left is less than the degree of your divisor. So the degree of this is 1, the degree of this is 0, so we're done. So, Ava, help me write my answer. How would I write my answer to this problem?
X plus 8.
X plus 8.
And then, or x plus 8 minus, or
Yeah, you're right. We'll cut 1 minus 4 over.
x minus 3.
Yeah, because some of you might be thinking, okay, wait a minute, it's plus and then -4. But what's plus and negative? Do we ever write plus and negative? No, so we usually just write what? Minus that. So good job with that. Questions on example 1? Chill. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, how do I set this up? So Jordan, what goes on the inside? 8x minus 12. And then on the outside?
3x plus 1.
And now, what would you multiply 3x by to get to 15x squared?
5x.
5x. Multiply?
15x.
And then what?
And then after 1.
Well, what's 5x times 1? 5x. And now you're going to come in and do what?
Subtract.
What happens to these guys?
Cancel out.
What's 8x minus 5x?
8x.
Okay. Now, what are we going to do next, Jack? How many times? What would you have to multiply 3x by to get to 3x? 1. Okay, so we're just going to put plus 1. When you distribute, what do you get?
3x plus 1.
Now you come in and do what?
Subtracting.
What happens to the 3x's?
Cancel out.
And what's negative 12 minus 1?
-30.
How do you write your answer then?
5x plus 1 minus 30 over 5x plus 1.
3x plus 1. Perfect. Okay, what do you think? These okay? All right, let me decide which one I want to do. Yeah, I kind of feel like we need to do both. All right, we'll see. Let's do C first. You guys are doing good with these. Here's a problem with C, guys. Okay, not with the divisor, but with the dividend, what you're putting on the inside, you have to write that in standard form, and I would put zeros for any missing terms. So, for example, I have 3x to the 4th. Natalie, make sure you leave that out because I got to check it real quick. 3x to the 4th plus what? 2x to the 3rd. Do I have any x squareds? Do I have any x's? And then what? Minus 1. So do you guys see how I did that? I had 3x to the 4th plus 2x to the 3rd plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 1. And then my divisor is x squared plus 2. You'll see why I did that in a minute. It's going to help us to line it up. AJ, what are you going to multiply x squared by to get to 3x to the 4th?
3?
And
2. 3 squared.
x squared.
X squared.
Okay. Now, when you distribute, what's 3x squared times x squared? And then, AJ, what do you get here?
6x to the 4th.
No, here?
6.
6 x squared. So, guys, I'm going to put it underneath the x squared. I'm going to put it underneath the x squared. And now, AJ, I'm going to take and I'm going to do what?
Subtract.
What happens to the 3x to the 4th?
Those cancel.
What do you have left?
-6.
Ooh, what do you have here?
Oh, 2x to the 3rd.
Minus
6x squared.
plus
0 minus 1.
All right, Natalie, what do you get? Not Natalie. I want to check your homework. That's why you're on my mind. Quinn, what are you going to multiply x squared by to get to 2x to the 3rd?
2x.
Positive 2x. Multiply. What do you get?
3x.
What? 2 times 1?
2x to the 3rd.
Uh-huh.
And then 4x.
Plus 4x. I'm going to put it down there. Do you see why I put those zeros? Now what do? You come in and you what?
Subtract.
What happens to the 2x to the thirds?
Cancel out.
What do you have left here?
Negative 6x squared. And then negative 4x minus 1.
Am I done yet? No, because the degrees are still the same. Jared, what are you going to multiply x squared by to get to negative 6x squared?
Negative 6.
Negative 6. When you do, what do you get?
Negative 6x squared minus 12. Or minus 4x minus 12.
Well, okay. Right now, when you multiply, you just get negative 6x squared minus 12. And now what do?
Cancel negative 6 x's.
Well, you change the signs, and then those cancel. And what do you have left?
Negative 4x. Plus 11.
Plus 11. All right. Can I go any further? No, because the degree of my remainder is less than the degree of my divisor. So, how do I write the answer? Okay, my answer is clearly 3x squared plus 2x minus 6. Now, you cannot pull the negative down. Okay, and I'll show you why in a minute. I'm going to put plus negative 4x plus 11 all over my divisor, which is x squared plus 2. I can't pull the negative down here because if I pull the negative down here, I would have to make the 11 negative because you'd be pulling a negative away from both of those. Does that make sense? The other ones, it only had one term that was negative, so you pulled it down. There's two of them. So if there's two of them, you can't pull the negative down because you have negative 4x plus 11. All right, what are we thinking? Okay. On the next one, I'm just going to get you started. We don't have to go through finishing all of this, but I'm dividing 2x to the 4th plus 3x to the 3rd plus 0x squared plus 5x minus 1, and I'm dividing that by x squared plus 3x plus 2. Even though I have a trinomial on the outside, you do it exactly the same. What would you guys multiply x squared by to get to 2x to the 4th? Now, when you multiply, you just have to multiply it by what? Each term. So, what would you guys get here? 2x to the 4th. What would you get here? 6x to the 3rd. What would you get here? 4x squared. And now you come in and what? And go from there. Could you guys finish this? Okay. All right. So your homework tonight is 2 through 8. Long division. Questions? All right. We're going to check Natalie's homework. Yeah.